see where the legends come from. You know what a hero looks like. Pretty little flower, won't you sit back down and go play nice? So keep talking, keep laughing. One day you wish you had it. Other people on fire, fire. Maybe it's time they meet their dragon. If you're gonna hold me down, you're not gonna let me into your castle walls. None of you can keep them. 'Cause if I gotta burn it all down, burn it all down. My oh my, who ends up bigger than mine? And if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Playing with fire, and we'll burn it all down.
Welcome to League to the Max, our Worlds in Review show. Yep, that's right. Worlds is sadly over. I, however, am your host, Bryan Andesian Espinoza, and joined with me, as always, is my friend and yours. I don't have anything else to say about this man except for the fact that he is a legend, for the fact that he has been here with every single episode we've done with this special coverage. Your friend and mine, Mr. Eric Watkins. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Yeah, burn it all down. That's exactly how I wanted to feel when I woke up and found out what happened Saturday morning.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
Nobody saw that one coming.
the chaos is done, we said.
Look, we
Damwon-
both thought. Look, no, you can't pin this on me, buddy.
I said
You
the
cannot pin this on me, buddy.
Whoa. I said the word we, had you let me finish. You know, the chaos is done, we said. Damwon would have it in the bag. You said, yeah, 3-1, piece of cake. No.
I mean, everybody. Let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic for like 2 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, even the guy with the perfect pick'ems, thought that Damwon was going to win this. Okay, like there was like almost nobody. Like according to the Mastercard Nexus Twitter poll, only 27% of people thought that EDG had a shot at this. Okay, like
Another reason why I say fuck MasterCard.
like fucking. Well, we're gonna be talking about them tonight, so you'll have to hold your hate in just a little bit. And everything goes silent. If we had the cricket sound effect, this would be appropriate for it.
Yeah.
And as always, I am infringing on my own gimmick from another show. Eating on air. Yes, I am aware this is not Life is Like a Game show, but I've been cleaning all day and I'm hungry. So I'm having my dinner on air. Tonight's dinner is pot pie. A little soupy, but...
Okay, now I might be hearing a slight echo, but I'll be dealing with it for now. Yeah, I went ahead and I took advantage of a potential sponsor, I would hope, and got myself some Dominoes.
Ooh.
They have their carry-out deal, and since I had to go to the store to pick something up, I figure, why not? Especially when it's 49% off.
49% off, you say?
Yeah, carry-out now through November 14th. Carry out 4 to 9 p.m., 49% off menu price pizzas.
Huh. See, I was thinking that was like a 49ers gimmick for a moment there, but then I'm like, why would there be a 49ers gimmick in Florida?
Nope, 4 to 9 p.m. They do that. It was actually very clever.
Well, yeah. I guess congratulations are in order. I mean, they pretty much did the impossible, right? Like, congratulations to EDG. You fucking did it, right? Like, And I'm not saying that like to be sarcastic or anything like that. I genuinely
No,
mean that, right? Like,
this was a real legit win for a team who had never been in the finals before. This is their deepest run ever. They came in, and I know we're
yeah,
going to be discussing it in a bit. We said they had the blueprint, and there were some great moments coming out of Damwon's presser that I watched in its entirety. And yeah, they were like, all right, we go in, we've got nothing to lose, and they hoist the basically named Summoner's Cup. And yes, I'm going to stick by that. Look, lore aside, all right, even you have to admit they could do something better. Hell,
I don't
we
know. I think it's appropriately named given the circumstances and what it's named after.
eh, eh, eh.
Now, I'll tell you what. I was on Twitter Saturday after EDG won, and I tell you what, a lot of those EDG fans were all over Weibo, which is the Chinese equivalent of Twitter, effectively. Um, Saying that they'll do crazy shit if EDG actually wins, and lo and behold, they kept to their word. It was like a Super Bowl victory over there, man.
All right, when you say crazy shit,
We got like college kids dressing up in maid outfits, running around public streets half naked with an EDG flag.
when you say maid outfits,
Exactly what you would think.
well, I don't know if it's exactly what you would think because in China, it's very hard to find a nice tail plug, but that's beside the point.
Okay, they didn't go that far, but the rest of the outfit with the frilly one piece and the skirt and everything was all there.
It's a
Yeah,
good
no,
it's a good it's a good thing that the mic can't pick me up stroking my beard right now. You know, if anybody would want to send any of the crazier stuff to either Brian's or my dark Twitter, slide into either of our DMs to undergo the proper vetting process. Mention certain things from League to the Max, like say, oh, I don't know, you watched us on Facebook Live or followed us on Twitch or on Twitter. You'll move to the front of the line. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find it on Twitter again. Hold on.
See, yet you wonder why I'm around for every single show. This is how we operate.
Because now that I've mentioned it, I kind of like have to, throw it up, right?
I mean, you did open the door. Not to mention, I have some various negotiations occurring at the moment.
Oh, can you elaborate on these negotiations or no? I'm going to take that as a no.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
I should have saved those tweets last night when I had the chance.
Yeah, you should have.
Because I can't find shit now.
See, this is the difference between someone like you and a producer like me. I'm there in between doing stuff.
Hey, I know how to produce shit too. I just not in the podcast form, okay? All right. Well, either way, congratulations, EDG, right? Like, y'all fucking won it. Everybody went wild. So I want to roll back a little bit in the tournament, right? Like, let's go back to what was that? Thursday. I think that was when it was. We did the EDG deep dive. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll back to Thursday's episode, right? Remember we talked about the keys to the series presented by W2M Network?
Mm-hmm.
Remember I mentioned, something about, particular team needing to pick Zoe,
Yeah,
like get a
picking
Zoe priority in order to win.
Yeah, Zoe priority, and you had mentioned, as we discussed, that these games would be won in the early game. First 15 would be crucial, and you went ahead, rightfully so, took it a step farther and say that each game of this series would be decided in the draft.
Yeah, well, about that, I might have been right, because
Mm-hmm.
they kind of did exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
They played Zoe to EDG played Zoe to like great effect. Damwon just like when I'm saying Damwon got dismantled, I mean like they got dismantled like T1 dismantled DFM. Or really any of them that played him, but like you get my point though.
I do.
Yeah, no, Canyon just like I don't know what happened, but Canyon just completely choked on the day, right? Um he wasn't given the Lee Sin, which was part of it. And wow, I almost said Gen G there. EDG just like they got the leads and just really started to snowball them, right? They played around excellent vision control. They controlled the objectives. They did what they needed to do in the early game. And I remember when we were talking about how we said that whichever team is ahead at 15 minutes is going to be the team that wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much exactly what happened. And for some bizarre reason, Damwon's capability to play from behind just did not travel with them from the hotel on Saturday. Like they got behind and they were just like, I don't know, at least for game one, I don't know if they just decided, okay, we're going to kind of like, passively play this out and talk about game two. But it seemed like they did not have the capability nor want to play from behind.
Right.
And I see a Silver Scrapes that got flashed on screen there.
I'm queuing it up, but not playing it because I know how to do it properly. I just couldn't prevent it from being on screen because, well, software and such.
Well, you can go ahead and queue it up because I have an interesting statistic for you involving that Silver Scrapes.
Oh, again, queued, ready to play at a moment's notice.
But when I say queue it up, I mean hit the play button. EDG has played the maximum number of games necessary. Well, technically -1, but
so it's not the maximum.
Realistically speaking, right? Without a 4-way tie, like just a standard tiebreaker, EDG has played the maximum amount of games necessary in this tournament. Every single series, best of 5 series that they have played in the knockout stage was 5 games.
So they've played the maximum number of knockout games.
They did play the maximum amount of knockout games. Group stage games, again, it kind of determines on whether or not you want to count the weird the 4-way tiebreaker rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't count tiebreakers, which we kind of had that discussion before of they count for career stats, but they don't really count towards advancement or anything, right?
Right.
Like standings. So if you don't count tiebreaker games, EDG actually did play the maximum amount of games necessary from their placement because they placed directly into groups. They did not have to come
Yeah,
to play.
so if you were in the group stage, you're looking at 21 games tops. Plus even in a hypothetical maximum scenario, 23 if things fall the perfect way.
And if I remember correctly, they played at least one tiebreaker in the group stage.
I am going to double check that because I believe that they did. Oh, look at that prize money.
Oh, it'll increase.
I know, but even just with that in of itself, oh, that's a friendly number.
Did they play?
No, they did. No, they did not.
No, they didn't. Okay, so yeah, they yeah, because there's no tie there. Yeah, no, so they did not play a tiebreaker, but still, that quite literally, if we're not counting tiebreakers here, they had to play, and they did play the maximum amount of games necessary in this tournament.
Oddly enough, their group was the only group that did not have a tiebreaker.
Their group was the one group that got decided the second game of the group.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the group of resident sleeper for you Twitch fans out there.
Yes, twitch.tv/W2Mnet. Please follow us. What? I'm not shilling. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about either. Weird things happen, right? Like, we talk about things and, maybe they appear on air, or maybe we reference stuff. I don't know, man. But yeah, no, yeah, 4-2. Yeah, that was the one where that was the group that got decided like the second or third match of the day or something like that. Pretty much locked them in EDG for first and second, and the rest of the day was everybody else trying to play spoiler. The funny thing about it is, right, EDG came into the tournament. They were a pretty well favored to win this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were one of 4 teams that were kind of given the whole, all right, these are the 4 teams that have a shot. But really, in the back of everybody's mind, I guess if you had to rank them like 1 to 4, right? EDG would have probably come in 4th every time. Maybe there's one scenario, one universe where like an FPX or somebody comes in last, or not FPX, where an RNG comes in last, right?
Right.
Because in reality, the 4 teams that everybody was really looking at the very start of this tournament was Damwon, EDG, RNG, Royal Never Give Up, and FPX, Fun Plus Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had the defending 2020 world champions in Damwon. We had the 2019 world champions in Fun Plus Phoenix. We had the MSI champions in Royal Never Give Up, or the 2021 MSI champions in Royal Never Give Up. And we had the #1 Chinese seed in Edward Gaming. When you sit there and you stack all of the accolades up like I just did, yeah, EDG kind of falls at the bottom of that list, right?
Right.
Especially when you look at their previous international history. It's like, okay, sure, they dominated domestically. Their team does look good this year, but does the world's curse continue where they can't get out of quarterfinals? And they managed to do that this year, and in a very gritty but very well fought fashion, they won the tournament, right? I mean, I think Pardon the pun here, because this is the 11th anniversary of League of Legends. And I know I'm going to get a monkey for this, but this quite literally is the upset of the century.
I mean, you set yourself up for it, and I had an interesting stat that they mentioned in the Damwon presser, so why not?
Well, go ahead. I'd love to hear your interesting stat because it gives me a moment to shove more pot pie down my face.
They are, and this was brought up as one of the questions, the first team to finish runner up in back-to-back like major international tournaments. And I am like, that's a bit of a curse in of itself.
You know what I think it is? It's two things, really. One, it's the Khan curse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any team that Khan has gone to, they fall flat internationally. The man's been playing for years and he's never been able to get an international trophy, regardless of how good the team is around him. They just somehow managed to choke at the absolute like last possible, 11:59th hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because, this is Khan's last, professional game and professional tournament, right? He's more than likely going to have to go off to military, mandatory military conscription in Korea next year. So we won't see him for at least, if I remember looking it up correctly, I believe it's 18 months. So more than likely about 2 years.
They may have, I think it is just 18 months because I know they have
I'm going to Google that
updated,
real quick.
because I know they've updated their rules in South Korea for conscription. Don't ask me how I know with these particular things, because it used to be 26 months, then they cut it to 24, and then they cut it to 18, especially depending on your age now.
Yeah, I know he qualifies into the must go active duty conscription.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to look it up and see how long it is because yeah, 1 year, 6 months in the Army or Marine Corps, 1 year, 8 months in the Navy, or 1 year, 9 months in the Air Force. Once that conscription is done, they are placed into the reserves and they must do 3 days of annual military training a year for the next 6 years.
So they kept it at 6, because I heard talk that they were going to turn the reserve requirement down to 5 years.
Actually, hold on. For 6 years. No, that did go through. It is 5 years from 2021.
Yep. So yeah, 3 days of the training a year for 5 years.
Now, if they can get a quote unquote exemption, it's not a true exemption. It's just they get put into what's called a grade 4, and then they become an art sports service agent.
So that's what that is. And I'm going to tell you how that came into my head. You're a baseball guy.
Sure.
You're familiar with the World Baseball Classic. I think it's due to be held. Wait a minute. It was due to be held this year, but because of COVID and everything else and the schedule with the Olympics, they've pushed it back. But you're familiar with that tournament, right? Major League Baseball put it together starting back in 06?
Vaguely.
Well,
I'm not the hugest baseball fan in the world.
Well, Major League Baseball, as a kind of a compliment or kind of whatever to international baseball, the World Cup, which nobody's talked about, and the Olympics not having professional baseball players, Major League Baseball decided we're going to have our own international tournament with MLB players in the preseason. In 2006 and 2009, the first two tournaments, Japan won it all. But with the South Korean team's performances in each of those tournaments, every member on both of those teams in 06 having beaten Korea or beaten Japan twice, 09 having gotten to the final, both of those teams, all their players got exemptions from that conscription. And I was wondering exactly how that worked, especially since you're not doing the whole entertainment soldier thing, quote unquote, after the whole public debacle over Psy of Gangnam Style fame.
Yeah, basically they have to go and do basic, right? They are required to do 4 weeks of basic training, and then their conscription contract, quote unquote, is 42 months. After that, they get placed on the reserve roster for another 6 years.
Huh. Okay. That does make more sense.
Now, in actuality, that 42-month contract conscription thing is quite literally the military just sitting there telling them, okay, you can go back to your sports team. Don't do anything too stupid, or, we're going to throw you into actual conscription kind of thing.
Right. Basically, keep on your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
Have your arrangements here and there if we need you for something, but you're not really going to full on do anything unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it's pretty much, you can't just, get your exemption and then quit sports. No, you actually you're serving your time, you're just serving it in a different way.
Oh yeah, because I noticed even with all of those players, they never retired. A lot of those players on those teams waited and deferred and deferred and deferred until they were a little bit older, knowing that hey, we can make a run in these tournaments and then get our exemptions, and then they would still play.
Yeah. They can defer. Where was it? I knew I saw it a few moments ago. They can defer until they are 28.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because they want the reason why you defer until you're 28, they want you to, especially if you have to be in your active duty or your full on conscription, they want you to have that wrapped up by the time you're 30 so you can be in the reserves and then be
Yeah.
out of the reserves at now 35.
But yeah, that's what Khan is heading off to. Give me a moment here.
Yeah, because he had mentioned and especially had some great speeches and everything. A little bit self deprecating, but very calm and good humored. And as he noted, hey, his last words as a professional player. I thought it was, under the circumstances, a nice send off.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a long, storied career. It's an absolute shame that he didn't win it all, right? He finally came so close and he fell flat, right? It's
Mhm.
very tragic and unfortunate under the circumstances. But overall, he's definitely had a long and storied career. And I chalk up a few points to him for what he said in that presser. Especially when he acknowledged of, hey, you know what? I was selfish at some points in my career. I'm sorry to those people that I, screwed over. effectively.
You know what would be awesome if it happened? And I'm going to speak this a bit into the universe, manifest some things. He goes ahead, does his conscription, his 18 months, comes back, wins a world championship as a coach, or at least on a coaching, as part of a coaching staff.
I could see that. I could see him doing that. Because more than likely, that's going to be his route back into League of Legends when he comes back from military service anyways.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, I don't think he's going to have the capability to be able to play at a professional level.
And he knows that. He knows.
That's not to say that he won't be able to play at a high level, right? I mean, once you get the rust off the fingers and you learn the new meta, because the meta can change a lot in 18 months.
Oh, of course.
But once you get the rust off the fingers, learn the new champions. I think League releases like 6 or 7 champions a year or something like that, as what I remember the number being. So yeah, he gets all the rust off. He could probably, still hit masters, right? Like diamond masters, maybe. Maybe if he tries to push for challenger, he could make it, but I don't think he would. I don't think he'd be good enough to go on a professional team, right? And I think he has consciously decided he doesn't want to come back to League. Excuse me, at least as a player. When he's done with military service, at least just based by the way he conducted himself in the interview and just little nuances throughout the tournament and interviews and stuff, right? I could be dead wrong, but
yeah,
but that's kind of what I saw.
Yeah, that's why I say he has time, and especially 18 months. I mean, and not even at times fully away from the game, but as you say, still keeping on the fringes, studying new metas, new champions, things like that. I think with all of his experience in everything, oh god, I can't believe. So forgive me for dropping another sports reference on everybody else tonight, but it's that kind of a mood. Not to mention, when you have a bad day gambling, what else do you talk about? That's another story. Hockey fans, I'm going to go back a ways. Especially those in the Tampa Bay area. You will remember this name quite well. Dave Andrechuk.
Oh, yeah.
I know that name quite well, and I was kind of mad, especially for everything that happened, because I can't stand the Lightning. But I was glad for him. He was that veteran guy on the team, still contributing to a point, but it's like, hey, he was more of a mentor, providing those experiences and a different kind of coaching and situations, helping that team get the cup, especially for a guy who had never won one. Finally got his cup and retired. I see Khan not as a player, but in that sort of a role more on the coaching staff. Definitely being there, of course, still providing technical expertise, but also those extra nuances in how to be in pressure moments and situations like that, coming from someone who has yet to win a championship, who could easily push a team to win one.
Speaking of coaches and championships, I think we have to use that to segue to Coma.
Segue! Yes, Harry, I'm infringing your gimmick now.
Imagine what Coma must be going through his mind, right? This is a man who is like success hasn't really been knocking on his door lately, right?
Nope.
Like he gets so close and then he falls short after he left for China, right? Like since he's come back from his coaching experiment thing in China after he left SKT, he hasn't won an international tournament yet. If you're Coma, I kind of have to sit here and wonder, is Coma cursed at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you were the backbone of the greatest dynasty that's ever ran through League of Legends. And then you, I don't want to say threw it all away, but for lack of better terminology and really explanation, you kind of did throw it all away.
I mean, it was one of those cases to where he thought the grass was greener, and it really wasn't.
I think you're right. I think maybe he's like, you know what? I'm kind of done. I failed my team internationally a few times now. We haven't made it to, because Coma's always been tough on himself, right? Like we know this. Maybe he thought, okay, you know what? We didn't make it to Worlds in 2018 or 2019. Maybe I'm the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he left. But ever since he's left, he hasn't won anything internationally.
And you think, I know for me, if I'm in that case, especially after a couple of years, especially after back-to-back finals losses, I'm looking at myself hard.
Oh, yeah. I think it's one of those you have to sit. I think he's kind of sitting there, you know, putting the pressure on himself, going, am I too old for this shit? Like I think he's legitimately like Danny Glover right now, right?
I remember we mentioned that. We made
Like
the reference to Riggs and Murtaugh. It's coming
like
back.
he's sitting there, he's Riggs, he's sitting in the bathtub, right? And he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. And I kind of have to want to think, right? Does Coma retire after this?
We talked about that very possibility.
Coma
That,
is 35. He turns 36 in about a month.
oh Jesus, do you have to remind me that he's my age?
Sorry. I turned 31 in 9 days.
Okay, but it's still, he turns 36 in a month. I turned 36 in like 7 months. Yeah. 7.5.
Yeah, he's born 2 days before Christmas.
So yeah,
Talk about short end of a stick on that one. Here you
well,
go. Here's your Christmas and your birthday presents.
well, that not
Although
everybody
I don't,
can.
I was gonna say I'm not sure if they celebrate Christmas in Korea though. But
Yes, they do. I've even seen advertisements on some of their national news, NBC, talking about Black Friday sales.
they said I wasn't sure.
Well, I'm telling you, I am sure, and I've seen it. But again, not everybody can have the fortune of having their birthday. Not everybody can have the fortune of being born in the middle of the summer like me.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna hold my tongue on that one.
Oh, you got something to say? You got something to say?
Maybe,
Something to say?
maybe.
I will
But
note this.
I'm sure you will. Now, let's talk about the tournament as a whole, right? Like, let's rewind all the way back. Like, I mean, way back to the fiesta that Riot doesn't support, play-ins. That was a stunt gone very bad for Riot. You do support play-ins. It is a fiesta, but you know what? You could have turned pick'ems on. You guys were just, you know what? I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna be toxic about pick'ems and play-ins because I probably wouldn't have done that. I either would have gone perfect or I would have gone zilch. Right? That's usually how these things go. So rewinding all the way back to the play-in stage. Not really anything memorable that came out of the play-ins, right? I think really the biggest things that we saw in the play-ins, or to come out of the play-ins, was another Turkish football team with a weird name that nobody can pronounce. That everybody took the first 3 days of the tournament learning how to pronounce. And
Galatasaray. It is not that hard.
we had Detonation Focus Me, who surprised everybody by actually making a run to groups where they failed in spectacular fashion. Cloud9, as always, having to the last hope of NA, climbing through the play-ins, going all the way to quarterfinals. They were so close to semis, man. They were so close.
Them fudge picks. What could have been?
Yeah. What could have been, Fudge. What could have been. Hanwha Life, I don't think it was any surprise that the Korean Chovy Life Esports got out of the group, right? Everything else, as much as I hate to say it, it's exactly what you would expect out of Wild Card Worlds Light, right? Because that's essentially what the play-ins is. It's Wild Card Worlds Light. I don't take away any of those teams' successes or anything. But very clearly there are some teams and some regions that really just sadly are not geared towards professional League of Legends play. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave that at, right? We had a couple of interesting games out of the play-in stage. I think the biggest one was where Cloud9 lost to Unicorns of Love. They're still rubbing that in on Twitter, even though they've already released their entire roster.
Well, I mean, no. I'm not going to make a Russian joke. I've already made too many. And especially on some of my darker sides. No, I'm going to move on.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. We'll talk about groups, right? Let's go back all the way back to the group stage, and we'll talk about the teams. We're gonna name all of the teams that came into the tournament, right? The other 8 teams, along with the 4 that made it out of the play-in stage. Or sorry, 12 teams. What am I saying? I'm losing my mind today. So in Group A, which was highly regarded as the group of death, right? You had Damwon Gaming, which was again, defending champion. You had Fun Plus Phoenix, the 2019 champions. Or sorry, 2020 champions. What the hell am I saying? No, I said that right the first time. The 2019 champs, because last year was 2020. I cannot get my head straight.
The pot pie is going to your brain.
I was going to say, I blame the pot pie. We had Fun Plus Phoenix, 2019 champions. We had Rogue. I believe they were the 2nd seed from the LEC. That sounds about right. We had Cloud9, which was and Cloud9, which came in from the play-ins. In an amazing turn of events, FPX just absolutely choked in week 2, because for all intents and purposes, it's week 2. And there was a 3-way tie at 2 and 4. And again, what was supposed to be the group of death, right? Like everybody's like, "Oh, this is Damwon and FPX. Sorry, Cloud9. Sorry, Rogue. It's not happening." But Cloud9, in an amazing series of tiebreakers and just dumb luck, quite literally dumb luck. It was a 3% chance that they got out of their group going into week 2. But they pulled off the miracle run and got out of the group with Damwon.
Especially with how they faltered at the end of the play-in stage. We can't forget that, because had they not had that slip up, they wouldn't have needed to deal with the tiebreaker and then deal with a second round of play-ins.
Yeah, they wouldn't have even had to go to group. They wouldn't even had to go to Group A, more than likely.
So yeah, it's that very last one causing what was the first bit of chaos. And then, of course, in groups, they turn around and it's like, oh no, we're going to be on the good side of it now. Here we go.
Yeah, no. Group B, right? There wasn't really any monikers thrown on this group. And all in all, I wasn't very impressed by this group, right? It ended up being decided like game 2 out of 6 for the day. In week 2, right? Like the results were pretty much a foregone conclusion. But you had T1, EDG, 100 Thieves, and the Japanese representatives made it out of play-ins in Detonation Focus Me, right? T1 ends up taking the group 5-1. They dropped a single game to Edward Gaming in the tournament, or in that group, excuse me. Edward Gaming gets out 4-2. 100 Thieves with the NA 3-3 curse, and DFM just not showing up at all past play-ins, going 0-6. Although, to be honest with you, if you look at the fact that two of the teams in that group ended up going to semifinals, I don't feel so bad for DFM. 100 Thieves, they could have done better. It's an NA team. All NA teams can do better, right? DFM, wildcard region, that's unlucky. Right? That is just unlucky.
Wild card region needing a tiebreaker win to go out of the play-ins directly through the group stage. You figured they'd hit their wall. They hit their wall, and I mean, yeah, as much as you can say you don't feel bad, and I completely get it, the overall strength of the group, but still, 0-6 is 0-6.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a thing here, and I want you to cue it from like 10 seconds into that video.
Okay.
And yeah, we have a we have a thing here from our Korean announcer host person. Yeah, like we have James on the James Dash Patterson hosts the analyst desk for the LCS and English international events. This is the LCK version of that, and he has some parting words for DFM.
Unlucky.
Unlucky.
No, Struth, she's just unlucky there. Far out is unlucky, mate. She's a bit unlucky, Jobber.
Unlucky.
That's so unlucky.
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 You unlucky!
Unlucky. N.A. was wrong.
All right. Yep. You cut it off now. I'm glad you got a kick out of it. There was a fun match that was played at back when Riot used to do fun matches at international tournaments. I think this was the April Fool's match between NA casting personalities and EU casting personalities. Of course, you know, these kind of things are scripted, right? But you can also tell how old that video is by some of the people that appeared in that video and some of the jerseys that were being worn.
Yeah,
at least three of those. I think 3 of the orgs that were seen in that video, and even one of the leagues in that video, no longer exists. But yeah, no, DFM unlucky. But they, you know what? Like I said, I'll give it to them. They had to go up against, you know, some of the biggest giants in the tournament. Honestly, if anything, I think Group B really was the group of death, right? Like when you go back and you look at the standings, like, and you look at, you know, how all the games and everything played at the end of the day, right? Group D, yeah, Group D was the group of chaos, right? Group A was the group of life for Cloud9 specifically.
Oh God, yes.
Like 1.56% chance and you fucking pulled it off. Yeah, that's the group of life for you and you alone.
Talk about good luck.
I almost had an Olmec moment in my head there. It's like the choices are yours and yours alone.
Why do you think it? I'm telling you, the wavelength, it is real. It exists.
Group C, I think was the kind of like Group C was the unlucky group, right? If we want to put a name on it. I think Fnatic had a chance, right? If they didn't have all of the problems that had occurred between Whippo and his relationship problems and whatever happened with Upset, we still haven't heard anything, you know, as far as I know, Fnatic still hasn't released any statements.
I wouldn't call that the unlucky group. I'm going to call that the what if group.
Yeah. I think that's where I think that is the better way to put it, right? Because yeah, I still haven't seen anything out of Fnatic about what happened with Upset, right? It seems like everybody's kind of moved on from that. I don't know what happened there. Obviously, it had to be, you know, something really bad for him to have to leave the tournament like that. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we'll ever know what happened truly. Somebody might say something a couple years down the line and, you know, some interview that they think will never be seen or only seen by 15 people. But I don't think we're ever going to get like the full story as to what happened to Fnatic 2021, right?
Unless they tell it themselves.
Unless they tell it themselves. And even then, I don't think that's going to happen, right? Because I think at the end of the day, I almost want to say, with the exception of Bean and Yamato, I think somebody had some drama going on there, right? And I don't even know if I can excuse Yamato, right? Because for all we know, it could have been Yamato's fault and just nobody saying it, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and speculate or anything like that, as much as I kind of want to, because that's just not cool, right? For all we know, it was a legitimate, family emergency, and somebody could have been dying and all that stuff. And in any case, we obviously we hope everybody is safe and healthy over on Fnatic's team, including Upset and his family and everything, right?
Of course, because with all of this, we know it is still a very unfortunately hostile times. Things are changing. We're still not out of the woods with a lot of things yet. I get that. And that's why I say I would hope at some point, Upset, Yamato, everybody would come out and say, even if they don't have to go in terrible depth, just as like, yes, this is what happened.
It's like, hey, and this again, 100% speculation. This is not true. But, imagine just him coming out, after the fact saying, hey, yeah, I had to leave because my mom had COVID and got admitted to hospital and it wasn't looking good, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that would be totally understandable. But at the same time, it's also totally understandable to hold on to some information like that until, years later, honestly, and for all I care, right?
Yeah, but I mean, just don't.
And I think that the Fnatic fan base kind of has to let up on the team a bit, right? Obviously, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on that team. There's communication issues like outside of the rift, right? Blippo is having relationship issues, which has ended up affecting the team's morale because Blippo is like their other main carry, and his head hasn't really been in the game because he's too worried about whatever he did that caused strain in his personal relationship and how to make it up. So I don't think that there's I'm gonna use a quote from my old video from my very favorite video game, Command and Conquer Renegade here, which I know is an even older adage than the game itself, but I just like attributing it to my favorite video game, right? Do not throw stones into glass houses without proper protection.
That's fair. And I'll say, in yet another analogy from my end of it, don't force these people into a Pete Rose situation.
Yeah, like the fan base, first of all, has definitely got to let up, right? Like we've seen some folks talking about how the Fnatic fan base has just like been super toxic after this whole situation, right? But I think at the end of the day, yeah, I think you actually call Group C the what if team, right? The what could have been team, or the what could have been group, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like Fnatic are known international powerhouses. I mean, even on a bad year, they can still manage to scrape it together and get out of groups or at least force a tiebreaker, right? And honestly, even with like when in group or week 2, when they finally got it together, and cleared whatever air needed to be cleared as far as team communication and morale and all that. When they managed to get morale up enough in week 2 to look like a functioning cohesive team, when they came out the gate and beat RNG like they did, there's hope there, right? Like even if Upset hadn't made it, if in a perfect world, okay, so in a perfect world, Upset would have been there, but in a slightly less perfect world where Upset leaves, but Bwipo doesn't have all of the he doesn't have the house of cards that's just collapsed, right? I think Fnatic with Bean still could have made a run for quarterfinals. Do I think they get past quarterfinals? I think it would have depended on who they went up against, right?
Right.
let's say that they replay or RNG wins that group, but instead of Hanwha Life going out, it would have been EDG, right? Or it would have been Fnatic, and they would have been the one to face EDG. Because if I remember correctly, in the knockout stage, it was actually no, sorry, it was they faced T1. Fnatic and T1, it's always been in the favor of T1, right? Like we've seen this matchup internationally at Worlds before. It's almost always gone in favor of T1. T1 3-0'd Hanwha Life, right? I think maybe we would have gotten a 3-1 out of a Bean Fnatic if they had gone to quarterfinals in place of Hanwha Life, but I don't think they would have gotten past there, right?
Right.
But Bean, especially in week 2, Bean played just absolutely fantastically, right? Like I'm sitting there, I was watching a lot of those fights. I was specifically honing in on Bean, right? Because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I want to see how good this kid can play on the international stage, especially when he's really not under that much pressure anymore, right? Like they have a shot at getting out of the group, but realistically speaking, probably not going to happen, right? I mean, we sat there, we ran the permutations for the group, and it wasn't looking good for Fnatic in a majority of them, if not all of them.
No, there were
I think they had like 1 or 2 chances to get out clean. They were in a very similar boat to Cloud9. I think they had like a 3% chance to get out clean, or not even to get out clean, but to get out with tiebreakers, or to have, I should say, have a tiebreaker, because
there were a lot of red lights, very very few yellow ones in the
and there I know that I remember there wasn't any greens. But like I said, even with Bean, right? They did look very good, right? If they had managed to get the personal shit aside and, sit down and say, "Hey guys, look, we got a fucking job to do here. Let's fucking get these wins and we can deal with the personal shit after the tournament," right? I think we would have seen a much better performance out of Fnatic, and I think that group definitely goes down as that's the fudge group. That's the fudge group, the what could have been group.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the what could have been. Group D definitely lives up to the moniker of Group of Chaos, right? 4-way tie. We've never seen it before. There's quite a few things we've never seen before in a Worlds tournament. This was the start of it, right? I don't even know if this was the start of it. This was just like at this point, this was somebody like you ever bake a cake and you get one of those cans of the funfetti icing?
Yep.
Your cake comes out of the oven and you're ready to start icing it, right?
Yep.
So you take, big old glob of funfetti, just dump it right on top of the cake, right? You haven't gotten your icing knife or anything to, actually make it look nice you're just getting it on the cake for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what Group D was in this tournament. That was just the glob of icing out of the container onto the cake, right? Like, it's going to get better than this, right? But damn, this is pretty good so far. But in Group D, we have
it's
Gen
weird
G
because I have cake icing in the fridge that I've eaten by itself at times.
Oh, I've got a few cans of icing that I picked up at the grocery store the other day because I have some baking I'm going to be doing because it's the holiday season and I bake a lot during the holidays. But Group D, right? Group of Chaos. We got Gen G, Mad Lions, LNG, which came up through play-ins, and Team Liquid. Now, honestly, if any freaking group had the best potential for a North American team to get out, right? Or even just Western teams to get out. But more specifically, a North American team to get out, it was this one, right? Like, Genji wasn't really anything spectacular, right? And I say that even though they went all the way to semifinals, but still, they did not look dominant, right? Like they looked beatable. And that's what I'm getting at. They looked beatable through the entire tournament, right? LNG wildcard team shouldn't be that much of a problem. What happens? We get a 3-3 four-way fucking tie.
Boy, I remember those shows, and I was like, you know, someone called this. Someone called this.
Yeah. But I'm disappointed in Team Liquid, right? Like Team Liquid's got a pretty good stacked roster on their hands, right? At the moment they have Alfari, Santorin, Jensen, Tactical, and Core JJ. These are 5 amazing players, right? I mean, Core JJ is a world's champion, right? He won the 2017 World Championship on T1.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck did they fall flat at?
Just because
Like I don't understand. I don't get how NA always like just chokes internationally, right?
well, here's the problem. You have a collection of talented players. Do you have a talented team? Because having a collection of talented players, all kinds of experience, all kinds of championships is one thing. But, and I see this with my different levels of fandom, if you can't get them together as a team, no matter how much that you amass individually, it's not going to work. And this is something to where NA consistently falls short. You have the money, the resources to get all of these great players, the Wunderbar, but where does that go if you can't put everything together and say, all right, can we turn you into a single dominant unit? So that's a matter of approach from an NA perspective that I find.
I think you're not wrong, actually. But I think the other part of it is what Mithy said as well about how and other coaches for that matter, right? It is more difficult for Western teams to get relevant international experience because it's more difficult for them to get off-season international experience.
That's true as well. That's a combination in issues of approach. It's number one, you can't get the experience in the off season. But I honestly think, say they resolve that issue, and I know we're going to get to format changes and tweaks and stuff once we recap the bulk of the tournament in review. Even if you were to fix that, my still biggest fear is you can't take the same approach of getting a lot of high profile, high talent or talented players, putting them together, slapdashing a team, and magically expecting it to work. You do that, you get the experience and everything else great, but you still run that risk of going into the same problem.
Oh, I completely agree. But I think that the Western teams could have done better, especially in Group D, right? Like Team Liquid Mad Lions, that should have been their group. How it wasn't their group, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't say you're wrong whatsoever in that regard.
But moving on to the knockout stage, right? Knockout stage was just as chaotic, honestly, as the group stage was. You're probably sitting there thinking, oh, okay, knockout stage, excellent. I'm not going to have to, I can sit here. I don't have to worry. You know, now there's not a lot of chaos left over or left, period. You thought wrong, honey.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
quarterfinals were pretty, honestly, the quarterfinals were very like lopsided, right? The only quarterfinal, I still maintain that the only quarterfinal that was actually entertaining to watch was EDG RNG, for the simple fact that it went to Silver Scrapes. It felt like two even competitor teams playing each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Gen G Cloud9, okay, there were some very close moments in that game as well. That pretty much came down to neither team knew how to close out a game properly. So somebody had to make a game losing mistake first, and that happened to be Cloud9 in all of those. T1 over Hanwha Life. I mean, I remember saying it back when we were covering the group stages and when we did our show right before our show covering that particular quarterfinal matchup. But Hanwha Life was Chovy Life Esports, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and when you get to a point where you have you have Faker versus Chovy, we saw Chovy finally, be brought down a lot, frankly, of pegs.
Multiple pegs.
Yeah.
Multiple pegs.
Yeah, he got brought down a lot of pegs in that quarterfinals and just could not deliver the wins for Hanwha Life, right? And it was pretty stompy, right? And Damwon Mad Lions, obviously everybody's sitting there hoping, okay, Cloud9 didn't do it. Maybe Mad Lions can take down Damwon, but that wasn't even close, right? Not even close. So in reality, I think the quarterfinal that I have to say that I enjoyed the most was definitely EDG RNG, 100%. It's unfortunate that my crystal ball pick RNG got eliminated so early. But that's how it happened, right?
Them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks. Semifinals were kind of bangers, honestly. T1 Damwon was definitely a banger. Like, if the result, here's my current dilemma, right? If you go back and you say, okay, groups aside, like just out of the knockout stage, pick a best of 5. What was your favorite one? I am so dramatically torn between the T1 Damwon series, or the T1 Damwon semifinal, and the EDG Damwon final, right? Like, they were both just that good.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, look at how we were hyping up. Everybody was hyping up the T1 Damwon semifinal. We looked at everything, the sides of the draw, all the analytics, and we said this was the de facto world championship. It was set up as being that match. And then you turn around, EDG flipping the script and say, hey, bitches, we're still here. We're going ahead and doing something of our own. We're going to step up and show how we are creating a banger of a series and a win themselves. I can get why you're torn.
Yeah. It was definitely that's exactly what happened. EDG is like, hey, hi, we're here. Don't count us out. Don't forget, we were one of the 4 favorite teams to win this tournament out of the 22 that showed up. So, like I said, it was good, man. Like, there's no other way to say it. I will say about the finals overall, I am slightly disappointed in the opening ceremony. I do understand, right? Like, because I know, please direct your hate mail to s.garmer@gmail.com, because I know I might actually get some for this. I am not found at Twitter, on Twitter at the Andesian.
Hopefully, Sean will see some of this hate mail before we do Soccer to the Max tonight. If so, I will let you know when we may be able to read some on air.
I how do I put this, right? As a broadcast professional,
Uh-oh.
that World's Open was a cop-out. That was like a COVID cop-out of like the worst degree.
Man, okay.
Everything was pre-recorded. The whole bit was just a pre-recorded run sequence. Some of the visuals, especially when they had Imagine Dragons with Enemy, them doing their music video thing, right? Because they were doing the cross promotion hype for Arcane. First of all, I want to say I saw Arcane yesterday. I've watched the first 3 episodes on a co-stream on Twitch. Oh my fucking god, that had no goddamn right being that good, right? Riot's gonna like fucking win a goddamn Emmy for a TV show, for an anime series about League before they even fucking fix the League client.
I mean, as someone who, again, and we discussed this, I am much more of a layman, much more of a noob, not knowing a whole lot of the lore. It didn't draw me in as much as it did someone like yourself, but it was still good. All 3 episodes, I watched it. I get it. I am curious about the next 3 episodes, but it's something that I'm willing to consider in my library. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, like I get you want to hype up Arcane, right? Like, past couple of years you hyped up KDA, you hyped up True Damage. There's always something that Riot wants to try to plug at the World's Open, right? At the opening ceremony, right? But this year felt too much of a cop out, right? Like, I understand you had to move everything at the last possible minute to Reykjavik, but I feel like you could have gotten. I feel like at least Pivris, if I'm even pronouncing that properly. I may be, I may not be. But the girl that sings the world's theme song for this year, "Burn It All Down," right? I almost feel like you could have at least gotten her to show up in Reykjavik to sing live, right? It just it did not feel right. The whole fucking thing being pre-recorded. Like, I have dealt with production in the times of COVID, right? Like, hello, professional business disclosure, whatever. I also, do volunteer work for Dragon Con TV. I was part of their team that did Dragon Con Goes Virtual in 2020, which was the largest virtual convention held online. It was like over 1 million views, 17, or I think it was 17 countries or something like that. I don't remember all the statistics. I'm probably grossly underquoting the amount of countries we were seen in. Really big deal, right? And everything that we did for that, like 99.9% of it was pre-recorded. We had to go that route, right? We didn't have a venue or anything. This year we did an in-person show. We maintained the live digital streaming service. And we put up live content from our COVID safe venue, like, with the appropriate restrictions and CDC guidelines and all of that wonderful stuff that people above me have to do decisions on. And thank God I don't have to do it. I think that going to full recording and like a full pre-recorded thing, even with the venue, and you had enough time. Like, I know you guys were flying, talent, like your own, like I know Riot was flying its own talent in and out of Reykjavik throughout the tournament, right? And they were even flying people to their studios in Berlin, in and out of the tournament, right? Because that's where they did all the casting from. The casting and the analyst desk, that was just the LEC studios in Berlin. And then they had like absolute essential personnel and like interviewers, like Shocks, for example, Shocks, Candace, Laura, etc. They're actually in Reykjavik. But I feel like even if you didn't want to use the Reykjavik stage, right, you could have done something with the LEC stage in Berlin. Like, you could have done something, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. What I did see was, like, from a quality value, it was great, right? It looked fantastic. It was visually appealing. The music was amazing. I'm not faulting the contents I'm not criticizing the contents of the package. I want to make that, like, perfectly clear, right? I have nothing against the contents of the package. I have an issue with how the package was delivered. Does that make any sense?
It's making a lot of sense. And again, it's
like, especially I know we were I know I'm sorry to cut you off. I know we were going to sit down and go through a history of the different worlds intros and stuff, right? And I actually found something doing the research for that show, and unfortunately, we just had a whole bunch of different issues, and we couldn't get around to getting that show on the air, for which I apologize. I'm trying to see if I can find it again really quickly here. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna post this into the chat because I want you to take a look at it. We can't play the whole thing because it's like an hour and 20 minutes long, or hour 50 minutes long. But if you go back and you look at every opening ceremony from 2014 to 2020, right? Like, almost every single, I think even 2020, and that was definitely a, that was more of a COVID risk than 2021, in all honesty. They did a live thing there in
yeah. And
China.
did you want me to have this up on screen as well, or
no? You don't have to put that on screen. Like, this is the first Worlds. Like, I'm looking at it right now, right? This is the first Worlds that flat out they did not, like, there was zero live anything.
Man, just looking at this, it's like, I get what you're saying, how can I put this? Going back to the cake analogy, you made the presentation well, but it's just not the type of cake you like.
I think that's a way to put it. Yeah, I think you could put it that way.
You made a great looking cake, but it's just not your favorite type of cake. It's not a kind of cake that you would normally go towards and eat.
Yeah. Like, I'm sitting here expecting, some sort of CGI something, or some crazy, like, hologram technology like they did a few years back. With the KDA performances was the biggest example. I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be something huge and it's going to be fucking amazing. And, it's really going to set the stage for the finals. And all we ended up getting was what, 2 or 3 music videos effectively.
And honestly, going back to what we talked about this, Riot got lucky. Because we went into the final saying it was going to be a dog series. And if it was a dog series, they would have needed something major in the opening ceremonies to help carry it and get viewership. They didn't, but they got lucky in such a fantastic series. They were bailed out tremendously.
No, EDG flat out saved Riot's fucking viewership for the finals.
They did.
Much as I hate to say it, but they did. The only good thing, and I'm gonna send you a tweet, and we can get this up on screen.
Sure.
The Pivris, and I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Somebody can correct me on Twitter. But until somebody does, that's just how I'm gonna pronounce it. But the Pivris Denzel Curry remix / video for Burn It All Down, I think, was the best part of the show open, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. Sadly, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Arcane's Enemy, the song's a banger. The visuals were amazing, especially when you see them, the animated version of that later on that evening in the Arcane episode. But I honestly feel like more could have been done.
It could have.
I can't imagine that Riot made the decision of scrapping their Worlds plans lightly, right? Because there are teams at Riot that work for like 10 months. I'm not kidding you. Like, it's like a 10-month process.
I can believe that.
To plan for those 15 minutes of, 15, 20 minutes of show open, right? Like, hell, look at the video for Burn It All, like the music video for Burn It All Down, right? I think FPX got predominantly noted throughout that video. So did G2. FPX fell flat in groups. G2 didn't even make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are players that were featured in that music video that didn't even make it to Worlds.
And that
shows you how far in advance that they work on these things.
Because whenever you see any kind of just a simple production graphic, they have to have so much in backup ready to go in case anything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to get roasted for it. And for something this intricate, and for those who know anything about animation, what you'll see in a 20, 30-minute even episode, that takes upwards of a year. So you're absolutely right. And stuff like this, they say, hey, with anticipation and favorites, and if anything happens, They don't make it, well, there's nothing you can do. You can't
Yeah.
sit and have multiple drafts ready to go. That's too much resources.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what this is going to benefit? All of this is really going to benefit NA. Because if you think about it, what do we do here in North America? We're big on Flash. We're big on events. Everything lining up for 2022 and we're hosting the tournament, especially since you're going to be at a huge semblance of anything going back to live, more reason, wherever the hell it is, I know that announcement's forthcoming at some point.
They probably won't announce specific cities until, I'm going to say, February, March, like a little bit into the spring split. They won't announce specific venues until like July.
But even for those venues, even if they don't get announced until July,
and I'm willing to bet money, right? Because it's been in NA once before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That time they used Madison Square Garden and Staples Centers. Those were two of the biggest.
Oh yeah.
Those were two of the big venues that they used. I will bet top dollar money finals is somewhere. It's probably at Staples Center again.
Speaking of betting money,
I don't want it to be on. I don't want it to be at Staples Center, but Riot is going to put it right in their own literally right in their own backyard.
Hashtag don't bet on Bovana from Jonathan here on Facebook. I've covered my saltiness. I've covered my saltiness for how things went down in the finals. Hate to break it to you. It's going to be one of two things. Number one, if there are still, for fuck's sake, I hope not, but you never know. If there are still any protocols in place, Riot's going to want to avoid those like the plague. If there are no protocols whatsoever, either or.
I'm really hoping. Now I'm biased here, right?
I know you're biased. Go ahead and get that out. I just had a tremendous idea.
I'm biased, but I want something held here in Florida. Last time we got anything professional league was it was either 2014 or 2015 MSI in Tallahassee. I would love something in Florida, Georgia, right? Hell, go up to Atlanta. Plenty of good venues in Atlanta for esports, right?
Honestly,
it's also Atlanta is it's fucking nerdy gras of the South, right?
No, honestly,
the Marvel Cinematic Universe is effectively Atlanta, Georgia.
But I mean, honestly, because I was looking at it and I did some quick research for my idea. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work because what I was thinking, if they do it in LA, they wouldn't just use the Staples Center. Not just. If you're talking about something like this, I was thinking.
Well, what they do traditionally, since this is your first Worlds, what they do traditionally is each phase of the tournament is held in a different location, right? They pick 4 host cities, 4 host venues. I'm hoping that they expand that to 5 and they give play-ins its own, place.
Or they revamp play-ins, which we will also discuss.
If they revamp play-ins, that's even better. But I would hope that they give play-ins like its own thing, right? And we got a comment coming in from John. If you want to pop that up, we got to get ready to hear. Do our best impersonation here. Duval! Jacksonville would be a great place to hold a group stage, I think.
Well, with our arena downtown, I could see it happening. The only thing is, everything immediately surrounding downtown wouldn't necessarily be as feasible. Because what my original idea was, if the Intuit Dome would be open, which I just double checked, it wouldn't be. Riot would be greedy enough to double dip and have both Staples Center and Intuit Dome at their disposal and use both. They can't. But
I don't think Riot's that greedy.
You're lucky you can't see me right now with the face that I'm making. Never assume a place, any organization would not.
I mean, Riot's been doing this for a long time. I kind of seen enough of these. They haven't ever double booked in the same city.
But if you're going ahead and having things like here in the South, they wouldn't choose Jacksonville. My hometown, I've lived here almost my entire life. I think it would be perfect. You think it would be perfect. But from a wide sort of entertainment angle,
I don't know if it'd be perfect, but I think it'd be suitable.
Well, but this is my point. From that sort of like an entertainment angle, even though we're building up a lot of things, and a lot of those things would be surrounding the arena, it wouldn't work. If you're doing Florida, they would easily go either Orlando or Miami.
Get out of my head.
Either one of those two. But
no, get out of my head, because you know what I'm thinking? I would love, and just think about it this way, right? Because the memes are coming, right? The memes would come.
Mm-hmm.
So, Faker, you just won your 4th world championship. What are you going to do now? I'm going to go to Disney World.
See, you knew exactly where I was going with that. And I was even leaning Miami with the party atmosphere and everything else. But just like you were saying about everything with Atlanta, the second city in the South for that is Orlando. You and I both know that from our experiences.
Yeah, no, Orlando definitely, I think, between UCF has an amazing esports program over there. They're highly competitive in multiple titles. You've got Full Sail University not that far away. Gaming, arts, animation, etc.
And with the Amway Arena, it's so
the Amway Arena
located.
honestly, I think the Amway Arena is the perfect venue, right? And on top of that, whatchamacallit, on top of that, I think that the infrastructure things that are being done as far as I-4 Ultimate, the downtown Orlando Arts District, etc.
Yep.
I think it makes Orlando a pretty damn prime candidate for a 2022 World's Finals, right?
Absolutely.
And as much as I hate to say it, and I'm not getting into politics too much here, because this isn't a politics show, but with Governor DeSantis's attitude and policy towards COVID and public health and things, I don't anticipate that Riot won't take prudent measures, but it's even more enticing to them, right? Because they probably, especially for finals, they want to go somewhere where they can fucking fill an arena. And, well, we got plenty of arenas, right? We got the Amway Center, if they want to play indoors. We got Camping World Stadium, Citrus Bowl Arena, TD Waterhouse Center. It's all the same fucking thing. That shows you where I'm born and raised from. Actually, no, sorry. TD Waterhouse is the old Amway. Excuse me for a moment.
TD Waterhouse was the old Amway. The old Citrus Bowl Stadium is now Camping World, But
it's still the Citrus Bowl arena.
but even still,
Get this
right
Camping World bullshit out of my face. But anyways, if they
next,
want to do a nice outdoor venue, they could go to Camping World or Citrus Bowl, right?
no, well, even within, say you have two options for camping for outdoor venues in Orlando. You've got the Citrus Bowl, which so sorry they still demolished Tinker Field right next to it.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
I have personal memories of that place, which you know about. But
Same.
Orlando City Soccer Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
granted, if you're not,
I'll be honest with you though. If Riot came to Florida, I honestly actually think they would sell out Camping World.
If they could fill Camping World and sell it out, go for it. But if you can't, you have an equally as great smaller capacity venue right next to it with the Orlando City Stadium.
Yeah. And they also have Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center not too far away and on top of that, there's also Bob Carr. If I remember correctly, Bob Carr is still like the original Bob Carr Center is still open. And those are all like walking distance blocks from each other downtown Orlando, right?
Man, I'm telling you, I know we're just spitballing here, but if this does happen,
oh, I'm going 100%. Like you cannot stop me.
No. League to the Max live coverage.
Oh, hell yeah. So speaking of League to the Max live coverage, that's actually the perfect time to segue.
And catching up with a couple of comments here. Wow, Miami Spanish language media will be a thing. It'll be a bit of a thing in Orlando if it was still Orlando.
Yeah.
Bienvenidos
al Worlds 2022 aquí en el Amway Arena. Ustedes estamos mirando nosotros en el mundo aquí en twitch.com/whatever the hell the Spanish language media is. I don't know what the Spanish channel is for LOL Esports.
You had it going for a while. Kudos with that. Because I'm about to say, and it's like all the NBC2 tower right off of the interstate that's also the local Univision. I'm like, come on now. And then the second one, some private colleges in the area are also stepping up their game in esports. Also true.
Yes, very true. I'm going to send you a link here. Uh-oh. No, undo. There we go. Segueing into our next segment, right? So imagine if since we're on the topic of having finals in Orlando, right? MasterCard has their priceless experience where you can bid on a VIP package to the 2022 League of Legends World Championship Final. It ends in about 9 hours from now. The current bid for this package is $2,400. Now, I've looked at this already. If you win this, the only fucking thing you got to do is pay for an airline ticket.
Biting my tongue to the point it's almost bleeding.
Get your ass there. They'll take care of everything else. And on top of that, they'll hand you $500.
You know. Granted, I'm looking at the bid right now. $2,400. I don't have that kind of money, unfortunately.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm not seeing any stipulations on what you have to do with that $500.
No, it's literally you can use that $500 however you want. They give you a prepaid MasterCard. At least that's the understanding of what I'm seeing.
Bryan, are you imagining the smile on my face right now?
Yes, I am.
So MasterCard's going to do this to me, huh? Oh, I can imagine my membership at the woodshed now. For those of you who know, you know. That's all I am saying.
But yes, no, that's one of two auctions that they have up. They have other priceless experiences, that's what they're calling them. Where you can have like either one-on-ones or you're in like a small group scenario classroom type thing via Discord or Zoom. With some, league players and personalities. Those are cheap. They're doing those for $5 a person. But the other auction that they have is for a 2021 World's Merchandise Bundle. And I believe currently, I have to look at the price of those headphones again. The break even point on the trip I'm pretty sure has passed, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even with the hotel accommodations and the travel and the $500 gift card, pretty sure that's not $2,400, right?
Right.
4-day, 3-night hotel, 2 meals a day. Let's see, 4 days. You're talking about, let's just say, reasonable 3.5, 4-star hotel, like a higher end Marriott. You're looking at probably $219 a night, right? Let's call it $225 with tax and everything. So 4 nights, you're looking at about $900.
Well, they say 3 nights. So
Or sorry, 3 nights. So you're looking at
675. So
Yeah.
round up to say 700 for safety's sake.
Yeah, so round up to 700 when you include the taxes and everything. 2 meals per day. We'll call that $40, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, we got to double that because that's you and a guest. So $80. So we're looking at what? $780?
Yep.
Welcome reception with other esports fans. That is actually priceless. Like,
Yeah.
guided tour, the host city. Okay, if it's Orlando, I've seen those tours go as high as $100. Especially if it's a just you tour, right? Like a private tour. So we're calling that what, 9 now? Or sorry, 780, 880? Yeah, 880.
Yep.
Behind the scenes tour of the venue, again, that's priceless. 2 premium tickets. I believe if I've seen tickets in the past for the World Finals, the front row stuff was like $150.
So now you're
So
at
we'll
about
call that like 300.
Yep.
We'll round up to 900 for the sake of making the math easier. We'll just call this 1,200 even.
Yep.
Right now. Group transportation. Let's say they give you an Uber gift card. All right. Ubers in the Central Florida area are expensive. The base rate is like anything under 3 miles, I think, is like 9 something. After that, you're probably looking at like 10, 11, 12, right? Let's call that, just for the, just to be on the totally safe side, $100, right? So you're looking at $1,300, and then they give you the $500 gift card. That's $1,700. Yeah, you're past the break even point.
Yeah. So even at the most, $1,800, and even if you extra stuff with transportation, fancier meals, eating out, all of that, you're lucky if you sniff $2,000.
Yeah. Now let me look up the price on those Bose headphones, right?
Those are, I can tell you now, a few $100.
It
In that
says
range.
Bose has them on sale for $200. Their normal price is $300. So
Yep.
we're gonna call them they're $329. So we're gonna call them by their normal price of $329, right?
Okay.
The Secret Lab chair, if I remember correctly, was $549.
So now you're looking at $878.
Yeah, so the $549 for the chair. Actually, no, sorry, $579 for the chair. And that's in the non-gold world skin. I'm looking at their website right now.
Okay.
Just the Blue Worlds 2021 chair, which is the same chair that you actually have seen on broadcast. $579 on Secret Lab's website, right? So we got $579 plus $329.
$908.
Current bid $830. All right, we're in the money here. 5 skins of the winning bidder's choosing. So let's say you pick 5 ultimate skins, right? I'm going to open up my client real quick. If it opens. Because you can pick any 5 skins, right? There's like a very, very small amount of skins that you cannot pick, which are pretty much the ranked reward skins, and some extremely limited edition stuff from like
they
beta.
even say they're limited to those that are available for direct purchase and or can be dropped via the loot system. And then they list all the specific skins that are excluded.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying like going through if you play League and you know that list, right? The majority of the victorious skins are the ranked rewards, right? You hit gold, you get this at the end of the year, you get the skin. The pack skins, Young Rise, Goth Annie, etc. A lot of those are either convention skin codes that no longer exist and are unattainable, or like extremely rare, like beta rewards, right? Okay, so ultimate skins. Most of the ultimate skins cost 3250 RP. And in fact, there are 6 ultimate skins. 5 of them cost 3250 RP. So let's do some math, shall we?
You're saying 5 of them?
3250.
62 or 16,250.
Okay, so
because you love it when math is done for you.
This is true. 1,500 or 15,000 RP, which they also give you a code for, is $100.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and tack on the another 100. So
you're looking at just over $1,000.
Over $1,000 right now. And then if you pick the 5 ultimate skins, which is the most expensive thing you can fucking get, that's 16,250. So you do 15, and then that's what do you got? 1250 left over.
Yep.
So the 1380 bundle would be $10. So you're looking at $110 worth of skins.
So $1,118.
So that bundle is still in the money right now.
Yep.
Like you still would be getting that cheaper than getting all of the components individually.
And that's even on a more conservative end because of like the specific chair. So you can add a little bit of extra money even for the chair.
Yeah, I was going to say you could theoretically add a little bit extra to the value of that chair, because that gold pattern is not the pattern that's on Secret Lab's website, right? I that gold pattern, I'm pretty sure, is like a special you're either only going to get it through this auction or you're only going to get it through their giveaway that they did, right?
Yep.
Like you're not going to get that gold pattern any other way. So it's even rare. So you could, theoretically, like say you wanted to resell it on, eBay or something, you could probably hike the price up on that chair from $579 to probably, honestly, I'd say an even $700.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7, maybe 8 at the absolute most. But so either then, just tacking that on, you're looking at over $1,200.
Yeah. And if I had $800 to or $850, I think is the minimum.
Yep,
The new
minimum bid is
bid.
$850.
If I had the $850, yeah, fuck it, I'd drop the $850 on that. Because again, you're in the money.
Oh
right?
yeah, as long as you can make some sort of a profit on it, or you're saving some sort of money, done.
Yeah. But man, if they did finals in Orlando and I get that fucking VIP package.
So, like I said,
Hey, MasterCard, you want to sponsor us here at the W2M Network?
I would hate myself every single minute, but knowing what I would be doing afterwards, I'm like, yeah, MasterCard. Everything I said, I fully apologize. I was completely out of pocket. I understand all of your rules and regulations wholeheartedly. Would you mind sponsoring us for this? Because moments like this are priceless, but for everything else, there's MasterCard.
Yeah. Thank you, MasterCard. But yeah, no, it's I would love it, right? I would love them to come to Florida.
Again,
Imagine if like I can see it now, right? Especially if a North American team wins it next year, right? Like just, let's have some copium for a minute, right?
man, there would be so many damn flags and everything going on. So many chants. It would be insane.
That fucking Amway Center would light up in USA chants, right?
Yes.
Like I feel bad for OPD after that. I know some people who work for OPD. I feel bad for them.
If they would still be working there, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna give you a heads up.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all better be prepared.
Call out today. But yeah, no, they yeah, no, it would definitely be crazy, right? But just imagine the winner's press conference, right? Hey, Cloud9. Hey, Perks, you just won. Especially if it's Perks, right? Hey, Perks, you just won Worlds. What are you going to do now? I'm going to Disney World. Because if you're from Florida, folks, it's not Disney World. It's Disney World. That's DIDNEYWORL. Disney World. But man, that would be the dream.
Yeah, it would. It really would.
So if anybody is from listening that happens to, work for Riot and has any say in this stuff, because I know it's not too late for you guys to talk about venues for 2022.
Not at all. We have
Orlando, Florida, please.
Yes.
Tampa, Florida. I don't want to go to Miami, but you can put Miami on the list.
I mean, well, the thing is Miami for the party atmosphere, because Miami is also very big on
I think
events.
that comes down to whatever they theme next year's Worlds on, right?
Yeah.
like this year they had the like make or break thing, and I don't think make or break works very well in Miami, right?
No.
In Miami, make or break has a totally different definition than make or break in, you know, the esports tournament definition, right? But what a fucking tournament, man.
It really was. I have to say, especially for my first Worlds, this was a way to do it. I picked a good year for you to drag me into to get me started on this.
Oh yeah, no, this honestly, I said it before, right? I said it on Twitter. I think it was yesterday. I don't remember. Yesterday was a blur, right? Like I was up super early for the start of Worlds. I took a nap during the rebroadcast, and I woke back up just in time to watch Arcane, right? Like yesterday was a very mentally exhausting day for League of Legends content, right? But I did send out a tweet, and I said flat out, I said, this has got to be my new favorite tournament, right? Like 2015 had to go down, I think, is my most favorite, or not 2015, sorry, 2016. 2015, I only saw part of Worlds. 2016 was my first full Worlds, right? And that always like has a special place for me as my absolute favorite. But after this year's tournament, the amount of chaos and, you know, never say die kind of shenanigans that went on, and just how well done it was, especially the fact that we got a 5-game finals for the first time since ironically 2016. I don't know how to top that, right? Like I don't know if there's anything that tops that as far as previous tournaments go. Like I think flat out that has to be my favorite tournament. This has to be my favorite Worlds now. I mean, we saw like absolute miracle runs. We saw quite literally the upset of the century. 10 years of champions, the 11th one. Oh yeah, it's in the bag. No.
And to think, and we can touch on this as kind of go everything and wind down. To think, Riot, imagine this, but you can do it even better.
Yeah, no, there are, you know, quite a few things from a technical aspect, right? You know, because I watch these, and I do put my technical eye on. I try not to, but it's just a force of habit, right?
I'm the same way.
And there's a few things that could have been done better. Again, the biggest thing that I harp on, and I know that it's like it's not entirely Riot's fault. Um, I imagine that there's a lot of it's not even imagine. I know that there's a lot of moving parts in production, especially at the level and scale that Riot is working at.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that it's probably things happened that Riot did not like outside of just COVID in general, where I don't think they were able to get the live performances that they wanted, right? But I still feel like that opening ceremony was a cop out.
Well, and I'm not even just saying from a production aspect, because I know production's going to change, especially for the venues and everything that they're going to sort out for next year. It's going to change. My thing is, and I'm going to go back to this, the actual format itself. Riot, you've said this, I've said this, we agree, especially with the peak viewership of over 4 million, which came in that final series.
Yeah, no, the and that's excluding Chinese platforms.
Right. But you and I have said,
which
with
is the
this,
first time that they've had to do that.
right? They got lucky. If they go ahead, and I'm still going to advocate tweaking the tournament format, all of this, and they could still do even better for both how they handle the group stage and even after one of the greatest knockout stages in years, a tweak to the knockout stage could also benefit.
Oh yeah, tweaks to the format for sure. There was 4 million viewers, excluding Chinese platforms. That's a new record for League, probably a record for Twitch.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they hit a Twitch record on just the Twitch platform alone. I mean, it's an amazing tournament, right? Like, since we're talking about statistics, let's talk about a couple more statistics that I managed to dig up, right? First of all, no perfect pick'ems. The one person, right? Because we were all sitting there like holding out, it's like, okay, there's one person left, right? They got it wrong. Riot did not pay out Riot does not pay out. I think this is the second year in a row now. That they don't pay out the Ultimate Skin bundle.
And boy, did they dodge that bullet too.
115 or 118. Actually, no, sorry, that's 5 out of the 6. 2775 RP closest to we'll call that 26 plus 200 is 2800. That's $20. So what did we say? 118 or whatever?
110.
So 130. It's $130 for all 6 ultimate skins.
That's, even if you look at it, you might say, "Oh, $130, yada yada," but still, it's $130.
Yeah. And those ultimate skins is where Riot really makes their money, right? Because they're like, the top of the line skins for a reason.
Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and I did my research into like other tournaments, like the international, how they have a base prize pool, but 25% of all the battle pass purchases all throughout that year are
Riot used to 100% do that with they had a skin that they released.
Yeah.
There used to be it was a world skin, right? Like they had an MSI skin, they have a world skin. And they would take the money from the world skin. I think they took I think it was all of the proceeds.
Yeah.
And they got added to the prize pool, but I haven't seen them make an official announcement about whether or not they're going to add the proceeds from the world. This year's world skin was Jarvan, right? It was World's 2021 Jarvan skin. I don't know if they're going to add that to the pool, because usually if they do that, they make the announcement like at the start of the tournament. Hey, this skin is on sale in the store. Go grab it. Proceeds go to the team or go to the prize pool. We'll announce the updated prize pool, at the end of the tournament or whatever.
But I would think
they'll provide updates, right? Like they'll be like, oh yeah, we've sold $1 million so far. We've added $1 million into a million's kind of steep, but oh yeah, we're adding $200,000 to the prize pool so far. Keep getting that skin, yada yada yada.
Yeah, but I think that's why if they don't do the skin, they would think they would just have to do something.
They didn't even mention the World's 2021 Jarvan skin on broadcast at all. At least not that I can remember.
Wow.
It kind of just was like silently sitting in the league store, in the client.
Makes me wonder why.
I'm gonna say COVID. That's a cop out answer, but that's what I'm sticking with.
If there's more that you can say off air, feel free to do so.
Yeah, well, we might talk about that a little bit off air, but I'm gonna say, so Pick'em's dead, right? The highest was in the 134 point bracket. There was one person, which is presumably our one perfect guy that got everything wrong, but the guy got everything right, but the finals. The majority of Pick'em's players, 65.6% of folks, scored anywhere between 62 and 82 points.
So,
out of 144 maximum.
So basically, right around half, middle of the pack.
Yeah,
points wise.
So no perfect pick'em this year, right? We have a new record for unique champions played at a Worlds tournament. 92 unique champions out of 155. Now, somebody's probably going to hear this and go on Twitter, wait a minute, there's 157 champions. No. Per tournament rules, Vex and Akshan were disabled because they had not been live for the prerequisite amount of time necessary for them to be considered Worlds eligible. So the two new recently released champions have not been out on the Rift long enough where Riot says, okay, these teams should know how these champions work, play, etc. We'll allow them.
So they should be in for 2022, however.
Oh, yeah, they'll definitely be in for 2022. They'll be in for LCS.
Gotcha.
If they aren't already. Teams typically won't play champions that they can't take internationally, right? Like like Vex, I think, was enabled domestically. I could be wrong here, but if I remember correctly, Vex was enabled in NA, but I don't believe she was picked at all or picked very little. I did not catch the end of NA, so but typically teams won't focus or play champions that they can't take internationally because it's just a waste of time, right? But yeah, 92 unique picks out of 155 available champions. That was 59.3% of the total available champion pool was played at least once in the entire tournament.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Pretty open meta too is kind of what you think about that as well, right? And I think it means that Riot did a decent job with balancing. If enough champions appeared at least once, we're okay. Yeah, we have our offenders, right? And I want to pull up the offenders list for the tournament, but I'm gonna pull it up here. Lee Sin, right? Ended Worlds at a 98.8% pick ban rate through the main event. So we're not talking about play-ins for any of these statistics.
So
He was in 37 games.
Wow.
He was played in 37 games.
So if we're talking, because I'm trying to think, we're not.
So it was what, 78 games before?
So now 83.
Yeah. Because it went to 5. So yeah, 83 games this year. Which I think that is also a record.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I could be wrong. Because theoretically, the maximum is what?
So if you're going
9 games for each group, because you've got 6 games in a group and then the 3 tiebreaker games, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So 9 games. So 9 times 4 is 20, 36, not 27. And then 5 times 4 is 20 for quarters. And
5
then,
times 7 to make it easier, because you'll have in an 8-team tournament that's a single knockout, you will be playing 7 matches. N-1. You're welcome. Math lesson. So 7 times 5, 35.
okay,
Adding into the 36, that's 71 from the group stage forward.
yeah.
Now, with the play-ins, that's debatable. Under the original play-in format, where you had the 4 quadrangulars, that
Wait,
was
if you just said 81, how the hell did we get to 83?
play-ins. I said 71. We counted play-ins.
Oh, right, 71. Yeah.
Yes, 71 from the group stage forward is the maximum. Now you have to look at play-in tournaments. Under the original format, you had 4 triangular groups. So in each of those triangular groups, that was also 6 games per group, just as a minimum. Then you have, in case of a 3-way tie, 2 tiebreakers. So that would be 8. So you add another 32 onto that 71, and you're getting 103. Then, if all of those tiebreaker or the second round of play-in series went 5, that's another 20. So under that format, you had a maximum of 123 games. Under this format, where you had the 2 groups of 5, you would have 10 games per each group, plus applicable tiebreakers. So that would be 12. So that would be 24. 44 onto the 71, which would get you to 115. That is how math is done for you.
I'm going to take your word for it because something seems off.
How so?
Because I don't think that 80 whatever number that we said at the end, or 70 whatever that was for. Oh, wait a minute. No, that was for the entire month of October. So yeah, no, that did count the play-ins. Never mind.
Thank you.
I was making sure, right? Like play-ins is kind of like its own. Play-ins is worlds, but it's not worlds, right?
This is why I say, for those who are still listening from Riot, expand your group stage to all 24 teams. Go to 4 groups of 6.
Yeah. Sure, you're gonna have some not so interesting games.
Well, I mean,
but I think it makes the tournament easier overall.
Exactly.
But still being fair and giving everybody an opportunity to participate in it.
Yes. And if you still wanted to do things time-wise, you could still go ahead, even though I highly would not recommend this, single round robin. But honestly, you would be better off at 4 groups of 6 still doing a double round robin, especially at best of 1s. If you want to go single round robin, you can use the best of 3.
But yeah, back to the
Yeah.
offenders list, right? So I don't want to go too far off topic here.
That, and I know there was one other statistic that you were adding up as we were getting ready that we can throw on and then wrap things up.
Oh yeah, no. I've got a few interesting things I want to throw in kind of towards the end here, right? Just random odds and ends. The top 5. I'll give you the top 5. Top 5 champions by pick ban rate. Number 1 was Lee Sin at 98.8% of all main event games. So group stage onward.
So
he was either picked or banned. He played 37 games. So he had a pick rate of 44.6%. And he won 59% of those games.
So if you're talking 98.8%, I will confirm the math as you go on, but I'm thinking that's like every single game except 1.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Because 5, 10, 15, 20,
Number 2 on the list was Twisted Fate. Had a 96.4% pick ban rate. Tied with Yumi. So tied for number 2. Coming in at number 4, you had LeBlanc at 89.2%. And then at a multi-way tie for 5th, you have Graves, Aphelios, and Lucian, all at 78.3%. Now, for the Graves and the Lucian picks, that's combined both their... for Graves would be top jungle, and for Lucian, AD carry and top, respectively. For pick ban statistics, we don't care where or what lane it was played in, just the fact that it was in the game. I know what that sound is. Go ahead and spell it.
No, the 83 number that you had was correct. That 83 number was not including the play-ins. So yes, with all of that, you're counting from play-ins forward. Yes, it was 83 games. So with that one, I was right. 82 of the 83 either picked or banned.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. In the play-in stage, there was 38 games played in play-ins.
So if you're counting...
I just pulled up the stats.
So if you're counting the play-ins and everything forward, it was 121.
So that means we got to redo our math on that.
No, that's so altogether that still is pretty close to the possible maximum because I included the play-in games with a possible number of tiebreakers.
Oh, wait a minute,
and it was over 100. Yeah. So you said 83 for the entire month.
Okay, hold on. You're going too fast for me. Let's break this math down again.
Yes.
Because I think if you're going too fast for me, you might be going too fast for our viewers as well.
Okay. I'm going to count backwards.
All right. So let's start from the group stage, right? There's 4 teams in each group. They all must play 6 games.
12. It's a double round robin.
Right. It's a double round robin. So there's 12 games in the group stage, right? Or in each group, right?
Correct. So that's 48.
Right. And then the semifinals, you had that math right. It was the N-1,
So that would be 35. So that's 83 without any tiebreakers. So if you're
right.
adding 3 tiebreakers per group, that's another 12.
What? Yeah, because 12 games becomes 15 games per group.
Correct.
And 15 times 4 is 60.
Plus 35 is 95. So not counting play-ins, 95 is the maximum group stage forward. And then when you get into the play-ins included, now you're getting closer to 130 to 140, depending on the play-ins format.
There you
closer
go.
to 140, especially 130 actually, because again, depending on the play-ins format, because again, if you have the triangular groups,
Yeah.
that's 6. So that would be another 24, and then 2 tiebreakers each group maximum. So that's 8. So that's 32. So now you're at 127. So then if you add in all of those second round play-in series going 5 games apiece, that's 147.
That's a lot of games.
Yes.
A lot of League of
Now,
Legends. It's a lot of long broadcast days.
So with this play-in format where you have 2 pentagonal groups instead of 4 quadrangulars, instead of 24 plus tiebreakers, you're only taking away 4 and you're making that 10 apiece. So you're really getting now closer to 143, and then you only have those tiebreakers per group, so it's more closer to bang on 140.
Still,
That is
a lot of long
your
broadcast days.
that is your hypothetical maximum, because I forgot that the 6 games is under a single round robin system. Group stage is a double round robin system. That's where it was off. And out of that theoretical maximum, this year there was about 83% of that, because there were 121 games. And then just from the group stage maximum, you were getting closer to over 80%.
So you said it was, 95 games in groups, right?
95 in groups.
Or the main event.
Yes, in the main event. Correct.
And we got 83 out of the 95. So yeah, that's about 80 something percent. Yeah.
Yep.
Just round up to 100, and yeah. That's not too difficult math to do.
So you're looking at about 86% ish.
Continuing with our interesting statistics, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 8 champions that only played 1 game in the entire tournament. That was Callista, Kassadin, Zaya, Ash, Sejuani, Seraphine, Shaco, and Yone. And if you think it's Shaco or any other pronunciation other than Shaco, you can direct your pronunciation corrections to s.garmer@gmail.com. And we had 1 champion that was banned and never played in 1 game. And that was Vladimir. I don't know what game that was. I'm kind of tempted to find out if I can. But Vladimir was banned in 1 game, was never played at all during the tournament.
Man.
Actually, no. Excuse me. I'm sorry. There are 2 champions that were banned multiple times, but never played at all during the tournament. Urgot was banned at least 3 times. I'm leaning more towards 4. Actually, no. Sorry. Yeah, I'm leaning towards 5. Sorry, 5. 5 games. He was banned in 5 games. Thankfully, I can look at other statistics that share the same percentage rate and get the right number. I don't have to do the math. Banned in 5 games throughout the tournament, not played once. So Urgot and Vladimir drew bans even though they never saw play.
That's just some tough breaks right there.
Thankfully, we were sitting there talking about very early on in the tournament, right? We said we don't want to see any more of the Tryndamere bullshit. Well, I definitely spoke that into existence. Overall, Tryndamere had a 10.8% pick ban rate in the main event and, was only played in 3 games out of that 10.8%. He was banned more often than he was played. So there's some of your now. Would you like to take a guess as to the champion that had the most amount of games played in the tournament?
Yumi?
No. Talking about games played.
Games played. I know you mentioned with the play rate of Lee Sin.
No, I will tell you Yumi had the highest ban rate in the tournament at 78.3%.
No surprise there.
I would pull up the Wheel of Fortune puzzle, but we've ran that gag at least 4 times during this tournament. It's now old. It's stale.
And you always want to use fresh gags in situation, especially with Jewel, but that's a different story.
Misfortune.
Really?
Misfortune had the most amount, and it was by a mile too. Would you like to take a guess at the number? Because you know what the theoretical maximum is, which is 83.
Yes.
I mentioned the 5 highest pick bands champions, and she wasn't in the top 5. But she has the most games played in the tournament. So I want to see what number you might come up with for this.
Basing it off of what we said.
And no cheating and using Google.
55.
Damn. Okay. Very close. 51.
I was originally going to say 50, but I'm thinking it might have been a little bit higher because of the distance between her and Lee Sin. Because I think you said Lee Sin was 37 games?
Lee Sin was 37 games, had a 98.8% pick ban participation. Misfortune was only 73.5%. But she definitely, Lee Sin was had the second most games played in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And
when
then
you said
barely behind him was Graves. Yeah, number 3 is Graves at 30, or actually, no, sorry. I think Graves might be more. Graves has 33 plus 3 because he had 3 games in the jungle is 36. So yeah, no, he's still at number 3 by 1 game. Graves had 36 games, 33 of them played top.
Mm-hmm.
3 in the jungle. and then Leona 32 games, and then Aphelios at 31. There's your top 5 for by most games played. I'm going to try to filter this out a little bit here, if I can.
So
Okay,
does that really
Oh.
mean, if my math is right, Lee Sin picked 37 or played 37 times and picked banned 45 times?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Because at the
If
98
he only missed one game.
yeah, so at the 98.8% that one game, which would mean 82, and 82 minus 37 is 45.
So yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Oh, he's going to get nerfed in the postseason.
Easily.
They'll do something to tweaks with the rune or something, or I know the Gore Drinker nerfs, which are already out, which did not affect the Worlds patch, brought him and a lot of the other Gore Drinker abusing champions in line. But I feel like they're probably going to tune him down just a little bit more as well. Okay, so highest win rate champions, 5 games played or more. I had to draw that line. Otherwise, all of these champions that only got played like once or twice and won both games are at the top of the list. So 5 or more games played in its role, because I'm not adding up percentages. Highest win rate. Lysandra, 80% win rate, 5 games played. And I know a majority of those were Faker. Kennen, 22 games played. Top lane Kennen had a 73% win rate. Kiana, 10 games in the jungle, had a 70% win rate. That's number 3. Graves, top, 33 games played, had a 64% win rate. And then rounding out the list at number 5 is ADC Jin, 28 games played, also with the 64% win rate. Funny thing about Jin, 36.1% pick ban participation. Almost at the bottom of the list. Like pretty damn down there.
So they forgot about Jin.
When he got played, almost guaranteed win, right?
So that's also going
but
to
nobody banned him. But he drew very few bans. His ban rate was 2.4%.
So this is the thing. It's like, that's why I say everybody forgot about Jin. And that's going to be another situation to where it's like, technically you could make an argument for nerfing, but you don't necessarily have to.
I don't think you need to nerf Jin. I think I think Jin was a very situational pick that depended on almost entirely upon what the rest of your team was drafting, right? We saw a lot of Jin LeBlanc because LeBlanc gets to dash in, mark somebody, and then Jin follows up with the root, and then you can just catch somebody out and burst them down that way. We saw a lot of Jin play based around that strategy. So if the LeBlanc wasn't available, or if there wasn't somebody that could easily mark a target for Jin, we didn't need the Jin, right? And I think that's probably why we did not see so much of him.
That makes a lot more sense. And that's why I say, with some of this, with the participation in the actual win rates, you can make the argument. But as I was saying, You don't need to.
Because
Don't really have to.
Because here's the thing, right? We said Jin's got 28 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
LeBlanc, number 4 on our list, or tied number 4 on our list because we had a tie for second, right? 89.2% pick ban rate, but she only had a pick rate out of that 89.2%. She only had a pick rate of 27.7. She only played 23 games.
So she played 23 and
Jin played 28.
So she played 23. She was banned in about 50-ish.
Yeah. She was a high priority pick in this tournament for sure. So yeah, like I said, when you look at the stats, it's kind of, and I'm sure if I went back and looked at each game that the two of them were in, when were they on the same team together? That number is probably, it's not going to be 100%, but I'm pretty sure that number is going to be high, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's interesting statistics out of the tournament, right? And I'm gonna finish up with a couple more quick numbers here that I thought were pretty interesting. The average game duration was 34 minutes and 24 seconds, which honestly is it's not horrible, right? It's not fast league, but it's definitely not like slow drawn meta that we've seen in the past, right? This is not 72 minutes the dream all over again. Average kills per game 26, a little bit of a bloodfest. The shortest game was sub 20 minutes, but it wasn't the record for shortest game on record. That was only by seconds though. T1 versus DFM, 19 minutes 53 seconds. Longest game we saw in the tournament was that tiebreaker Cloud9 versus Rogue game, 54 minutes and 7 seconds. And the most absolute bloodbath that we saw was 54 kills in 37 and a half minutes, RNG versus Fnatic. And I'm checking to see if that was the one. That was the one that Fnatic won. So that was that was the second round robin game that Fnatic won.
So their one win was a Fiesta.
Yeah.
Basically.
Top KDAs in the tournament. Showmaker, 7.4, 75 kills, 27 deaths, 125 assists. Kyria from T1, 8 kills, 17 deaths, 120 assists. Light from who the hell is Light from? LNG. Okay. So somebody didn't even make it out of groups. 20 kills, 7 deaths, 35 assists. Gumayushi, the T1 80 carry, 7.2, 49 kills, 14 deaths, 52 assists. And then Ruler, 5.9. 56 kills, 25 deaths, 91 assists.
Oh, yeah.
Most kills we saw in a single game was Hanabi with 14 kills on Jace in the Fnatic versus PSG Talon game. And somebody's home.
Yep.
Before
I go to sleep.
Okay. Give me one. Can you take over for 1 second?
Yeah, because we were looking for some of these particular statistics, and especially with KDA ratios. For such a diverse championship pool, this really was not bad. And even for all of this, the Fnatic's Fiesta, which actually was second as far as most kills in time, Galatasaray over Beyond Gaming, that when in the play-in round, these was a very even, a very balanced tournament. And I say this, yes, even though you had the Lightning 19 and a half minute in the play-ins, and going back to the main event, 1953, you only had a handful of matches that really slugged it out, like Cloud9 v Rogue, 54 minutes and 7 seconds. So with a lot of this, very smooth, very clean, a lot of champions. So you have an idea which champions are going to be nerfed in the off season. And I will say this, there's a lot of work that Riot can do, and a lot of good data for how well this tournament especially ended overall. You had a lot of games, you had a lot of chaos. If they really wanted to make it better, and we talked about this in the lead-in, eliminate the play-ins, but you're going to still have some very interesting matchups, and even though not everyone's going to count, have those in the wider group stage, and then you create 2 different brackets. Your top 2 in each group go to your main quarterfinals, your upper bracket, like the international. The next 2 in each group go to a lower bracket quarterfinal where you can still duke it out. And yes, you wouldn't necessarily need best of 5 series for all of them. If you wanted to trade away some sort of knockout games for group stage games, you could have it to where it's all best of 3s until your Summoners Cup final, which you would keep as a best of 5. So there's ways that with all of this in a formatting wise, especially come 2022, could definitely be worked on. And if you're having the different venues for the tournament, it would actually be easier to go ahead and go to that group stage expanded, eliminate the play-ins, so that way 4 stages, 1 for each group.
My apologies for that. John just got home from a very long car ride and had to tell me some important information before he crashed. Not the car. One other interesting statistic I want to throw out before, actually, I've got a couple, but one pretty notable one that I do want to throw out. Right, we were talking about Khan earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't walk away with the crown, but he does get to walk away with one almost equally good statistic that is in his favor for this tournament. He got the only pentakill in the entire tournament.
How rare are pentakills?
Pretty rare, especially in professional play.
Okay.
In your normal solo queue game, you might run across them a little bit more frequently. I mean, pentakills, honestly, it depends on the champion that you're. It's a lot of circumstances, right? It's all circumstantial. You could accidentally in pro play. In pro play, you're not playing for pentakills, right? You're just playing to kill the team to win the game, right? You're not like, oh, we're going to give him a pentakill, right? Or we're going to give him a quad or whatever. So I know there was one game where there was I believe it was JJ had a pentakill stolen from him by his support, right? I want to say he was on Jarvan when it happened. But yeah, they're definitely rare, right? Like Riot will 100% give out a drop when a pentakill happens. Because they consider them rare enough. And in a professional gameplay meta, you're not playing for kills, or this isn't, a few years ago when we had funnel strats where, it was, we have to give everything to one person, or we have to give as much as possible to one person, right? So yeah, I think they're pretty rare. I mean, obviously 83 games, and out of all 83, there was just the one pentakill, right? Hell, even if we go to play-ins, there was no pentakills in play-in stage. And that was 38 games in play-ins. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, less than 1% in a professional environment. That checks out.
Yeah. But he gets the distinction of having this year's only pentakill. A couple of other interesting things that I have found across the web, right? First of all, I'm sending you a thing to get up on screen there. Whoever beats Cloud9 loses to the world champion.
I saw this when you mentioned it, and I was like, man, I can move my thing to get it up on screen. There we go.
Yeah, if I had seen this like beforehand, I think I might have changed my tune on betting on Damwon.
The team loses with 1-0, but I get translation. 4 groups of 4 into the quarterfinals. So Samsung Blue beat Cloud9, lost to Samsung White in the semis in 2014. 2016, Samsung Galaxy beat C9, lost to SKT in the finals. 2017, WE lost to Samsung Galaxy in the semis. 2018, Fnatic, who lost to Invictus Gaming in the finals. And this year, Genji lost to EDG. Yeah. Would have been real useful there, you sumbitch. Real useful.
Yeah, about that. I'm gonna check something real quick here though.
Yeah, bragging about a 5% cut. What's 5% of nothing?
All right.
That's my last bit of fault.
Let's see, 2019. Yeah, because they mentioned 2018 in that tweet, and I'm like, there's no way 2018 was the last time Cloud9 went to Worlds, and no, it wasn't. They did go in 2019. They missed 2020. That was the first time in the org's history that they didn't go to Worlds. I remember that. But I am curious, who did they play in 2019? 2019 Fun Plus Phoenix won it. So Cloud9 did not make it out of groups in 2019. Okay, G2. You can argue G2. They were in the same group with G2. G2 came out of the group at 5-1. And G2 got beat by Fun Plus Phoenix in the finals 3-0. So yeah, that tweet actually holds up.
Be glad you can't see me right now.
Now we know these things for next year? Question mark.
We damn sure better.
Look for more.
Because I used a similar sort of a situation.
Yeah, they lost to They
Are you purposefully trying to look for other evidence just to cover your ass right now?
No, I'm looking at they lost both of their games to G2. Wait a minute, they lost both of their games to G2. Yeah, they lost both of their games to G2 in the groups that year. So yeah. So G2 beat Cloud9 and that was and then they got beat 3-0 by. Yeah, man, I'm telling that tweet actually does hold water, like some serious water. What the hell?
So yeah, I am looking damn hard at that trend for next year. I used similar strategies in Australian rules, and it paid out quite well.
And then the last statistic that I want to throw up on screen, which is kind of a more lighthearted one as we end our broadcast, because we've been going for 3 hours now. This is definitely our longest episode yet.
Well, you prepared for a long cat episode when you told me about this, so not entirely mad.
I mean, we're talking about 83 games, right?
Well, 83 just in the main event. If
Yeah.
we're really looking at it,
we're talking
over 120.
Yeah, and we're talking about 22 teams.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody that had the music video buff lost.
Another thing that would have been handy. So you're sitting here. These are two damn juicy trends.
I don't think anybody's going to have any music video buffs next year, right?
Hell no. Hell no.
All the wife buffs lost too. Actually, I think all the wife buffs lost. I'm not 100% sure if anybody on EDG is married or recently married, I should say.
I hope you're also taking notes on these trends because I'm going to keep this in mind next year.
Oh, yeah. But
this is what sharps do, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been a hell of a year. I had a lot of fun doing this show. You had a lot of fun doing this show, I hope.
Of course I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept doing it.
My understanding is the leadership over at the W2F network actually want the show to stick around. So we're going to have to figure out something outside of Worlds.
We've got our ideas. I mean, we've already been given the gift of Arcane, which, yes, I did watch the first 3 episodes. And yes, I can be convinced and persuaded to watching the other 6 as they come.
Yeah, no, like I said, I thought Arcane was amazing. We can I figure now that we're not under any like time constraints or pressure from the tournament anymore, we can actually structure this show properly.
We can. That can all be discussed.
Oh, I screw it. Let's discuss it now, right? Because so I'm thinking we take a week off, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants time off after this tournament. Trust me.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Normally on Sundays, especially tonight, we got soccer to the max. Myself.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about doing it on Sundays.
No, I'm saying going my personal schedule. Sundays I have soccer to the max with myself and Sean Garmer. Wednesdays, on myself, Harry Broadhurst, Kennedy Eddings, we've got the kickoff. Thursdays, the two of us, Harry and John Nielsen himself, have Life is Like a Game show.
Wait, what did you say was on Monday? Was anything on Monday?
Nothing on Monday. So Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Those are my already scheduled days.
See, I was thinking we do the show on Mondays. Like
I could do that.
After LCS is done. And pretty much everybody is mostly done for the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking we take a week off. Like we're not doing anything this week. next week on Monday is free agency day. I don't want to do a show on free agency day because too much it's volatile. Plus, I have a personal engagement. The one and only John Nielsen is actually taking me to the Islanders Lightning hockey game for my birthday.
And you know what? I'm not even both mad because I look at you two peons in your teams smiling from up above, knowing my team is 10-0-1, and I laugh and scoff at thee as I rain down rats.
You're gonna be cleaning up them rats, trust me. The Lightning and the Islanders are both going to the playoffs again. And one of the two of them is going to win it again.
You're funny. That's funny.
What, you think the Lightning can't do it again?
Hell no. You were lucky to do it these last couple of times.
You're funny. But we can talk hockey on another show.
Exactly.
This is why we're league to the max or whatever. There's a lot of or whatever thrown in. But yeah, no. So I'm thinking we actually do a special episode on Tuesday the 16th, which is my birthday. And I get to open presents of trade deals.
God, is there any way that I could petition Gary Bettman to bring back ties? Could that happen? Sorry. Continue.
Yes, my birthday present on Tuesday the 16th, which I believe is going to be our first actual. Actually, no, that's still technically a special coverage show, but I figure we do a show that day, and for my birthday, I'm opening up trade offers and seeing who's gone where, and we'll talk about all of the different roster moves that have been confirmed. So that's going to be a busy night for you. There's going to be a lot of different tweets and stuff going up on screen.
I'll be ready. I may not be sober, but I'll be ready.
I may not be sober too, depending on who goes where. And then from there, we'll take time off until we'll probably do another week off. I don't want to do a episode Thanksgiving week. We could probably do a Cyber Monday episode, the 29th.
That would work.
That would be our first actual regular episode. We call that like episode 1 of the preseason. And then we can probably talk about more preseason moves. Talk about, whatever teams we think are going to be doing good in their respective regions. Somewhere in there, we can probably talk more about the world's format change. I know I kind of wanted to go into that a little bit more tonight. I know we talked about it a little bit. I wanted to go a little more, but we've been live for 3 hours. It's already getting late.
Yeah,
so.
we can definitely.
But
we
can do like a Worlds Part 2 that Monday. Talk about the format changes.
Because especially if number one, we could get better ideas in us spitballing our individual things. Number two, if by then Riot has even decided or given them some.
I don't think they're going to decide. Maybe we get an announcement on.
Well, not a full decision, but just like an inkling, like saying, "Hey, yeah, we are looking into it," sort of a deal.
I don't think we're going to get that outside of what they said on the media day, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I'm thinking we have the episode on the 16th, take Thanksgiving week off, and then our next episode will be the 29th, and we just go weekly every Monday from there.
That works.
December, we might do like a bi-weekly thing just because preseason, there's not a lot going on once you cover the roster changes. We can talk about the actual Riot preseason patch notes on some episode in December, just to give us something to talk about, because they've been out for a while actually, but we haven't really talked about them because they got released like right in the middle of Worlds. But I think that's at least our schedule through the end of the month, right? We do we'll do a show next Tuesday, Tuesday the 16th, because next Tuesday is technically the 9th.
Well, that's this Tuesday because it's coming up.
Right.
So next Tuesday the 16th,
And then we start our regular Monday schedule. We start a regular Monday schedule starting Monday, November 29th. Because we'll take the week of the 22nd off for Thanksgiving.
Yep, that works.
And we will become a once a week Monday podcast.
And also by then, I should, all things well and equal, insane, have a logo.
Yes, and I am actually going to be working on getting us like a little intro thing. Because I like Burn It All Down, but that's a Worlds thing. I don't want to use Burn It All Down as the theme to the podcast.
Well, then be prepared. You've got time to decide and sort that out.
Oh, I already know what I want to use. It's just a matter of like chopping it together.
Alrighty then.
There's some Riot music that I'm particularly keen on. So, or Riot affiliated music that I'm particularly keen on using. That is esports related. So,
okay.
But you wanna roll us out of here since it's late and we've been going for a good minute. And thank you to everybody who's been with us since we started.
Yes.
And you who have tuned in along the way.
Thank you all very much. If you happen to listen to this live, and I'm also going to end this with a caveat. I was a dumbass.
Uh-oh.
And I did not realize until about an hour into the show that I had clicked the wrong button. So for those of you who have been listening the last 2 hours live on our Facebook page, thank you. Those of you who have been
that would
listening,
explain why we didn't get anything about why we didn't get anything from John until the time that we did.
For those of you who have been watching on all 3 hours with the lovely Mark Radlich's Facebook page, thank you even more. And if you like us, please feel free to comment and message to remind him to get on the whole Super Show collaboration with the Damn You Hollywood and Life is Like a Game Show with the quiz show. If you can remind him to do that and have that bumped up the list, that would be great. Other than that, for those of you who have also been watching this entire time, twitch.tv/W2Mnet, twitter.com/W2Mnetwork, thank you, because I did push those buttons properly at the beginning of the show.
Oh, I know that. I got the notification for that.
And for those on the oral persuasion, absolutely fine. We're on pretty much any platform that you can think of. Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, CastBox, Overcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Pods, Google Pods, you name it, we're on it. And as this is an in-review show, this will be uploaded sometime Monday on YouTube. Yes, we don't have to worry about any more bans, at least from the time being. All was well and good. And going forward, we will be uploading those regular episodes on YouTube. And if there's any special events, like we had during the whole Cloud9 what the fuck, how did this happen kind of moments, we'll even go ahead and stream live on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. Obviously, the amount of special edition episodes will be, very few and far between now as we're entering, regular season. I believe technically the next international tournament would be All Stars, but I have not heard any news on All Stars. I'm gonna do a quick Google search if I can find out anything. Um, yeah, they have not yet released any information about the 2021 All-Star event. It's something that they've done every year. They did one in 20. They even did one in 2020. It was kind of weird, but if we hear anything about All Stars, it's probably going to be at the very, very end of November. So we'll probably know something on that like end of the month show. That would technically be the next international tournament if they decide to cancel All Stars for some reason. Then the next international tournament would 100% be MSI. That's not until I believe like March, April, something like that. It's held in between spring and summer split. And that's when we would have our next round of special episodes. Otherwise we'll just be covering weekly happenings throughout. Primarily I'm going to focus on DLCS in North America. If I have the opportunity to catch European games or Korean games, or if I see interesting news out of in either of those regions, we'll talk about it on the show. But we are definitely going to keep to a North American focus for sure.
Funny, we have a habit of doing things like that around these parts.
But other than that, yeah, no, if you've been here the whole time or if you've, tuned in to any of our shows throughout the entirety of the tournament as we kind of, very last minute put this together, right? I'm sending you something to queue up, by the way. Don't play it yet, but
All right. Well, I mean, honestly,
yeah, no, if you've anything that you've seen come out of League to the Max or whatever, it this month, right? It's been a wild 30 something days, right? The tournament started, what was it, the second of the month or something like that.
mm-hmm.
We've been on a crazy run here.
Look,
So
sometimes, and I'm gonna let you in on an inside secret. You've been a fan of the kickoff.
yeah,
I assume you've been listening to it the last month or so in particular, right?
I've been trying to. I haven't caught every episode, I'll admit.
Well, you should, because things have gotten crazy. And to those fans, we apologize for taking the week off. We'll let you know what happened on the show. But I'm going to give you a little bit of an inside baseball. That show was put together in only 6 hours.
Wow.
Dead ass. I was at work. I know we've mentioned this before on earlier parts of the podcast. I was sitting in my cubicle that fateful day, talking to the people. Some of us, like the chair, who were there at the beginning. Harry and I, being the OGs of the podcast as it was then, got everything together. We recorded our first episode that night. We're in the middle of season 5.
Wow.
Good shit happens sometimes out of the blue. You never know.
Well, like
If
I
that
said,
wants to give you any inspiration for all the things that can happen, sometimes if it's just done right, it's just done right.
oh yeah, and like I said, it's been a crazy month. You know, a lot of weird sleep schedules, a lot of league to be watched, a lot of league to be talked about. I had fun. I've had fun. I want to continue doing this. So we'll see where it goes, right? Who knows? Maybe
Absolutely.
2022 Worlds where, we've gotten big enough that now we're registered Riot, media,
But
that would
when
be amazing.
yeah, it would be funny seeing me and my whole ass blue self in a suit covering this. Although I might take on a different form, and that would be the only time that you would actually see me in full embodiment. I'll decide if that happens. Did you not really think that I would have that as a consideration?
Oh no, the thought may have crossed my mind a couple of times, but
Already then.
you know what? I think it's time to send folks out of here, and just like we've had our impassioned speech, thanking you all for tuning into our podcast. Riot Games had something to say, and I think we're going to end it on this. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, everyone.
It's been a great tournament from start to finish, with moments that will be remembered forever. In the face of a global pandemic, we've once again done the impossible, moving worlds to a new country on short notice, thanks to the tireless work of an incredible crew, not just here, but around the globe. But from there, it was up to the teams. They delivered on every level to give us a phenomenal Worlds, one for the ages. And you at home, we've had such an amazing ride this year. And seeing the passion from fans shown across the globe has been incredible. Thank you. We miss seeing you in person, but hopefully we'll be back together in arenas next year, because nothing beats the roar of the crowd and feeling the stadium shake as we share in great moments together. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.